Hey, beer bastards. You know what time it is. Wait, you don't? Oh, okay. Well, then that's kind of weird. You should know what time it is. Why are you here then if you don't? But, I don't know. Beer time. Beer time. Mobcraft, Midnitro, Dragon's Dream. Now, first off, what is so special about Mobcraft? They're basically the only brewery that I know of, at least in the state of Wisconsin, that exists, and I don't know any other one that does this, but they have a main set of beers that they pretty much always have on tap, and then they, instead of doing really seasonal releases, what they have are crowdsourced ideas. So anybody, can really submit an idea to them and say like, hey, I want this beer, send them name, ingredients, or description, whatever they want the beer to be. And they usually leave it up to the brewmasters and the brewers there to figure something out for the beer. So if you just give them a name, they can come up with something. Or if you say like, hey, I want this, I want these ingredients in there. They can say, oh yeah, we'll call it this. Or you can give them a name and ingredients. So it's whatever you want to do. But in order for that idea to actually get promoted, even considered being a beer, you have to have 5 people say, yeah, I like the idea for this beer. And then it kind of moves to the next step forward for, voting for everybody. So what you do is you go onto the website, you reserve some of that beer, whichever one you want to vote for. And they do this every month. So whichever one has the most reserves is the one that gets brewed for that month. It's kind of it's the monthly winner, really. And I've had a couple of their different, monthly beer specials, and so far, Midnitro Dragon's Dream is the one that I absolutely love the most, just because it's a little more unique than some, and honestly, it's got fruit in it, and I'm not a big, fruit in beer kind of person. I like it, just regular grains, hops, malts, have everything come from those flavors. I'm not big on fruity beers, but this, it's actually done very well in my opinion. So we'll do a quick review on this, and I know I've done this already, but I want to show this beer off to everybody else because I just like it that much. So without further ado, so it's a stout. And frankly, yes, nitro. So nitro oatmeal stout with blackberries, coffee, and cocoa nibs. Now, does it say it's a nitro? Yeah, it says it's a nitro stout. But judging by the head, it looks like it has a little too much carbonation and not enough nitro. If this was, a true 100% nitro, the head on this, the carbonation bubbles or the nitro bubbles, and that would be in this case, would be a lot more smaller, and this would look like a smooth, creamy head instead of, real bubbly and rocky, and it wouldn't dissipate as fast. The nitro would sit there for a while. So I'm questioning how much nitro has been put in here. And right away, I get oatmeal and blackberries. Those are the first 2 smells I'm picking out. Then underneath that, you have the mix of coffee and cocoa. So it gives it like a real dark, like cocoa, kind of malty, and then finishes and has some fruitiness to go along with it. And as for the body, it's it's colored like a stout, but it has a slight, ever so slight purplish tint to it. Mostly because of the blackberries. I know blackberries are kind of black, but they're really dark, a real dark blue or purple. So you have a little bit of that hue in the body. Now, mouthfeel, it's very light on the carbonation and very creamy, so that tells me there is nitro on here. And oatmeal as well, from my experience, is that it tends to lighten up the stout a little bit, give it a little more lighter profile and character to the body. And really what I'm getting here is, you get the malts from the oat first, and then the cocoa and coffee bitterness coming from there. So you have the cocoa nibs and the coffee, and that's mixing together to give you that nice, bitter chocolate roasty taste. And then the blackberry kind of mixes in with it a little bit, and then really comes in at the end and adds kind of like a little more juicy tartness to it. So it's not as dry as you would expect it to be. It has a little bit of juiciness from the blackberries. But the way they got these flavors to mix together is actually very well done. And as I said, I've had this before, and it is one of the more enjoyable beers I've tasted, especially from Mobcraft. And I kind of got it just for the name at first, and the artwork is pretty awesome. I'll show the bottle up here just for a quick second so you can see that got the nice drain in there and everything. Looks pretty sweet, in my opinion. So yeah, all in all, I would recommend buying this, and just having this would be one of those ones where you could just have a bomber for yourself. You don't have to worry about sharing with somebody else. I think these are these were like $11 or something, so not a bad price tag for this. Even tells you on the back here what batch and bottle it is. So this is batch number 51, bottle 796. So this is pretty far down the line. Ooh, let's read this. Midnitro Dragon's Dream. Your adventure begins as the elusive Nitros dragons of Cream City pave your way on a glorious blackberry journey into the oatmeal forest. Coffee sprites lure you down the chocolate river and place thy palate into a dream. I'd say that's fairly accurate. Say pour in a hard glass, enjoy at 40 to 45, pretty standard. So, forget what the alcohol content on this was. I did know this at one point. I just know it's a little bit lower for I remember seeing at one point it's a little bit lower for a stout than what you would expect. So, with that being said, I'm really impressed with the aromas and the way the beer presented itself with the body. A little bit lacking on the mouthfeel, in my opinion, in terms of the thickness. But that's kind of what you get out of oatmeal stouts, or at least most of them. And then it was a little bit creamy, but the head, at least at first, led me to believe that there was only partial nitrous used in this. So it wasn't totally on nitro. It was rather still fairly carbonated. They didn't work that all out. So with that, I will give this an 8 for all of that. Really, the one thing that's bringing it down a lot for me is the confusion with the nitro, in my opinion. But still very tasty, very well built beer, and definitely something to enjoy. And it's a little, easier drinking than most stouts. So good. So with that, I leave you to your own devices. Stay thirsty, bastards.